Hey, what's up guys, Shuckleking here, bringing you my draft analysis for Ncp Nimbus Season 4 with your OK Rilla Boomers. It's kind of crazy that I'm doing this. I've not been an Ncp in a very long time, so definitely a change there. But yeah, I'm back here on a Wi-Fi scene. It's been a little bit of time since I've uploaded a league. I've uploaded a decent amount of content with OG Albina. He's also in his league. Again, make sure you check him out and check out all the other coaches in this league. And if you're watching and you're from the WBE analysis that I did, I appreciate it. And maybe consider giving a subscription. There's only a small percentage of people that actually watch that actually subscribe, so I would greatly appreciate it. Maybe give me a comment below about what you like and don't like about my Ncp Nimbus team, but I feel like it was kind of okay. So the last time I was in NCP was, gosh, at least 3 years ago, probably even longer than that. I was in NCP Showdown Season 2, and I won with Tier 2 Shaman Sky. I still bust JJ, John Jr., who is the commissioner, his chops about that once in a while. That was definitely a broken one that I got, but hopefully I can try to get a broken team again this time around, but it'll be a little bit tougher, but not impossible, just because there's 120 points, so it's going to be a point-based format for 11 months. That's about 11 points a Pokemon. I feel like the average is generally about 10 points a Pokemon for leagues, so it's a little bit more points than normal. So I definitely appreciate it. I'll draft a lot of really good stuff if it's around. There are new mons in the game, obviously, like the legends and the fossils that weren't in the game before, like Celesteela, Tornadus T, Garchomp, all those. But there's also the very new mons from the DLC, like the Galarian forms, Gen 1 birds, like Zapdos. There's Calyrex, Regidraco, Regielekid, Glasstrier, and Spextrier. Not even sure if I'm saying those names right. And Galarian Slowking. There's a couple others probably, but I was also at a wedding at the time of the draft for a good friend of mine from college. So the draft started earlier than expected, and so I could have, in theory, I could have just waited until the weekend was over. Then I would have held up a lot of people, which I don't really want to do. So I made some picks maybe a little bit harshly. Honestly, I wanted to do a live draft of this, kind of like Ultra Player's done it in the past, but wasn't that conducive because it was in pretty loud environments I was in the whole weekend. And for the last couple of picks, even though some of the last picks were definitely fire, it would have been weird to like make that type of transition. But I'll do a typical draft analysis. That's definitely fine. But yeah, generally my plan, like in all of the drafts that I do, is just try to get as many broken mons as early as possible. Maybe like the first 4 picks, I just try to get the best mons as available, and then from there I can round out my team. But yeah, no, I like getting good Pokemon, so hopefully I can do that here. And I have 4th pick, so I have quite a few options to get a really, what I call a broken mon anyway. So we got a, hopefully Dragapult, Melmetal, or Mew. If either of those 3 last the 4th pick, that would be great. Otherwise, if all 3 of them got sniped, which I would doubt, and I knew D-Ray was getting G-Dorm with his first pick, so a little bit, no spoilers there, but I knew I was able to get one of my 3 months. That's pretty solid. Otherwise, maybe like Garchomp or Urshifu, I would have gotten the 4th pick. Not entirely sure, but I knew it wasn't going to come down to that. And when I reached my 4th pick, all 3 mons were available. Dragapult, Melmetal, and Mew. But I feel like it was an easy choice out of the 3 that I decided to go with. And as you can see here, it is Dragapult. Yeah, I know I've used it for 2 out of the last 3, or 2 out of the 3 Wi-Fi leagues I was in for Generation 8. I don't care. I've won with it twice. I feel like I can win with it a 3rd time. I feel like Dragapult's a mon that shouldn't be allowed in the draft format. It's way too fast and has enough offensive options for it to be so centralizing. You need to get like a fairy or a normal on your team, which a lot of teams will have a fairy anyway. But there's definitely ways to get around fairies, like Specs Hex with Toxic Spikes, for example, or you could just U-turn out. Defensive stats like Sub, Disable can also work, especially with his Curse Body. So Dragapult just really has a lot of versatility. And you wouldn't expect this because I feel like the move pool isn't as big just because it's in Gen 8 compared to other mons out there. But yeah, it should be banned. and I'll probably do pretty well just alone because I have Dragapult on the team. There are a couple more dragons, like Garchomp can be scarfed, Salamence can be scarfed. So there's more steel types that got introduced, like Heatran, Metagross, so it's weak to Shadow Ball, Registeel. Some steels and fairies, also like all the top boosts are fairies. So they could all be a little bit problematic to Dragapult, but I feel like it's still the best mon in the format, even with G-Dorm going first pick. Tornti, I think, went second or third. Second, I believe. I don't think it's that good. I forget what was third. Oh, Galarian Zapdos. Honestly, at this point, I don't even know what moves got banned and such, and what the new mons actually do necessarily. Like, I can look on Showdown and see what the sets are and such, but it's kind of hard to get a good feel of how good they'll actually be. So that was the reason why I wouldn't have gone with G Zapdos anyway. Though it would be cool to get one of the new mons anyway for the thumbnails, obviously. So yeah, I don't really have to explain further what Dragapult does. So second mon, again, trying to get the best mon available. Maybe prioritize getting a really nice deal, and I like Heatran in this next pick. I felt like that was a really solid steal if I get it either with the second or third pick. I feel like that's going to be a pretty solid combination because Heatran can take on the fairies and the steals that Dragapult doesn't want to deal with ideally. But Aegislash was around. That was really cool. If I could pair that with my Dragapult, especially with like EWT having Aegislash plus APA and TBL having Dragapult, having that double ghost combination like I did with Dragapult Gengar. I could turn that around. Drachi was there. That's very solid. Necrozma, very reliable, bulky, and setup psychic type. But there was one mon that was like 1000% stood out against the rest, and there was no reason why I wouldn't have picked it, and that was Melmetal. Like, I don't get it. I'm not sure why people sleep on the mon. I mean, I have ideas. It's because, like, oh, the counter's just getting a bulky water with Rocky Helmet, and Melmetal is not an issue. I mean, that's kind of true. You can't really spam Iron Fist that well, especially because Melmetal's so slow. Water type can just continuously recover and probably beat like that type of set 1v1. But there's definitely other ways you can take advantage by the fact that if your opponent thinks the only way to beat Melmetal is bringing a bulky water at Rocky Helmet, and for example, they're not going to run leftovers, so my Pult does more damage, especially if I can Hazard Stack or get Toxic Spikes up. There's it limits the team prep if you think that like getting Helmet is the best way to deal with it, and if you don't have Helmet, then Melmetal just fires off pretty free double Iron Bash, especially with how big of its bulk is. It's going to be tough to take it down. There's other offensive sets on Melmetal can run that doesn't have to be banned, like defensive, could just be offensive with protective pads, so you don't get that chip even though you're not going to hit as hard. And Melmetal's probably the best mon in Trick Room available since like Mega Mawile isn't a thing, since Megazord a thing eventually. AV could also work with Melmetal since the HP stats, so even if the special defense stat is a little limiting, it's very bulky. So I feel like I grabbed the best dragon and maybe honestly the best steal in the format right now. Not literal steal. I mean, Dragapult's probably the biggest steal in the draft in terms of value, but literal steal and steal with Melmetal. Oh boy. Maybe Celesteal is better, but I really like Melmetal. I'm probably not going to grab the best fairy, however. Like, Top Affinity was already taken at this point. So, one downside of Melmetal is it doesn't have rocks, so I do have to get rocks somewhere else in the team. But I'll probably be getting a ground type as most teams would. So hopefully if my ground type has rocks, I should be okay. So yeah, I have Dragapult Melmetal, one of the best special attackers and one of the best physical attackers. So it's going to be pretty tough defensively to check these two combination. Especially because like Melmetal deals with fairies that Dragapult doesn't want to deal to. And I guess Melmetal can Earthquake to deal with steel types, or like Thunder Punch if it's like a Skarmory or something. Fire Punch for Ferrothorn. So the third mon, there's definitely things better than the third mon that I got on the team, but I also wanted to get a lot of speed with Dragapult. When I had Dragapult, I had Zeraora, which was broken in APA Academy, and then a lot of stuff under base 100. So it would be cool if I just get a crap ton of momentum and speed with Dragapult, so Dragapult doesn't have to run like U-turn. It can run more offensive setup sets potentially. That's something I wanted to get, and I wanted a mon that dealt with bulky fairies in addition to Melmetal. Obviously, Melmetal's the best mon to deal with fairies, probably in the format. but also bulky steel, because Melmetal's not the best standard of bulky steels. And the mon that I'm picking doesn't deal with bulky waters, which can be an issue for Melmetal, but I can patch it up later. So I went with Cinderace. Cinderace just has great speed, deters toxic spikes, so like, I mean, Dragapult gets hit by them. Melmetal doesn't, but I'm going to be getting more mons that are going to be a little bit weak to toxic spikes, so having something that deters your opponent from setting them up in the first place is great, or like even spikes or rocks in general, because I could just send them right back at you. And it might also give me the option of not having to run hazards if I think my opponent's going to run hazards, and then I can send them right back. Momentum to get Melmetal in, even though like Cinderace isn't the best momentum answer for Melmetal because it draws in bulky waters, and Melmetal doesn't really take advantage of bulky waters that well. But Cinderace has decent power. It's not the greatest, but Pyro Ball is a really, really nice spammable stab move that it has, with not much drawback besides a 10% chance of missing. But I won't miss. It was 13.0. I thought it was pretty good value. Definitely better mons available, but it fit the team really well, and I knew it wasn't going to last, so I was fine with this pick. I had a lot of points that I could still feel like I could splurge with my fourth pick, potentially, because I felt like there were going to be some good things that were going to last. But right now, I don't have a Stealth Rocker on the team, and I don't really have stuff for bulky waters. Like, Dragapult's okay, like spamming Shadow Ball, but water types can be special defensive not to take 2 like specs Shadow Balls from Dragapult and not be an issue, even if I can get Spidef drops. I want something for bulky steals, even if Cinderace is a good answer, an alternative check. At EQ resist, I don't have an Earthquake resist right now. Even though Melmetal takes physical hits really, really well, and get more momentum. It's still nice to have. I still want to get the best mon available, if it makes sense for the team. Like, I wouldn't pick... I mean, if a Garchomp was there, I would take it, but, like, yeah, if, like, I think, well, for example, if Aegislash was there, I probably would have taken Aegislash for this fourth pick, just because it doesn't really make sense with Melmetal. But otherwise, if something makes sense for the team, I want to get the best mon available. And there were, like, Rotom Wash, Buzzwole, Glass Treer, which I'm not even sure what it did at that point. It seemed okay. I don't think it was worthy of a round 4 pick, but all those mons were available. And they were really nice, and I feel like all of them could have complemented my team very well. But I feel like the fourth pick I had made was also a very easy choice, and that was Necrozma. This was like probably a top 5 pick mod in at least older draft leagues of Generation 8. It was banned from GBA, so feeling Necrozma has to be pretty solid. And I've obviously used it, and I know it's really good. I'm just super shocked that it stayed around until the beginning of round 4. When I run Necrozma, I generally run it more bulky, just because I like my Psychics to be a little bit bulkier. But it does have huge attack and special attack sets. It has Earth Power and Heat Wave to break bulky steals, which is really nice in combination with Cinderace. I can run Dragon Dance, Autonomize, Calm Mind. Like, Dragapult can go physical or special, though it's probably a better special. And Crossman can also go physical or special, so it's nice to have that versatility there. It could be a Trick Room setter for Melmetal, which is definitely nice. Has a middling speed tier, which I didn't have yet in the draft either, so that's always, I guess, good to have. Speed tiers, if you know my content by now, I think speed tiers are pretty overrated, but I guess it's fine to have that middle speed tier. 16 points is pretty decent value, maybe a little bit higher than I would have wanted to spend, but I also knew I had a lot of points going into this draft, so I was definitely okay with that pick. These first 4 mods I think are really cool offensive start. But like Melmetal has naturally really good bulk. Necrozma has really good natural bulk, especially with Prism Armor. And Dragapult has really nice resistances. So I really like the first 4 offensive picks that I have, and maybe I'll get a little bit of bulk with my next couple picks, but we'll see. But pick 5, I knew what I wanted from this pick, and I was pouring on 2. Just because I saw Matty Brolic and UDL utilize this pretty well, and that's a Trick Room into Teleport into Melmetal from Porygon Tube. So I could set up a Trick Room, teleport into Melmetal, and just have the fastest one on the field for 3 turns. So even if your bulky water comes in and we get 2 KO'd, I can kill them first because I'll be slower most likely. It's pretty brainless, very easy to spam, but I'm okay with it being easy to spam if it works. And it's going to be pretty hard to deal with Trick Room with my team, especially because I do have Dragapult and Cinderace and Necrozma. I have a lot of speedy threats elsewise. It has 105 special attack, so it's not horrible, especially with Download or Analytic boosting that attack even more. So it's definitely not that passive. And obviously Teleport helps that from not being passive. And again, I could teleport even into Dragapult. I don't have to teleport Trick Room into Melmetal. I could even not even run Trick Room and just run Recover, Teleport, and 2 attacks, kind of like a Slowking, Slowbro type of set. And that should work pretty well too. Super bulky. I can make it physical or special defensive, and it'll probably take hits for days. Similar to Necrozma. So yeah, thing with Necrozma is Necrozma and Porygon 2 both don't like to take knockoffs. Even though Necrozma, honestly, even though it's weaker, it probably takes them better just because of the natural bulk that it has. And it can run Culver Berry, but that's a one downside of the core, but otherwise I think this is an excellent defensive combination because Porygon 2, weak to fighting, and Necrozma takes it as on. Necrozma's weak to ghosts, and Dragapult's weak to ghosts, and Porygon 2 is among the best ghost resistances, immunities even in the game. So I really love these 5 picks so far. And I have 45 points left for 6 months. I still have decent points left. And I also knew I was okay with getting like 2 to 3 mons that were less than 5 points each. So I definitely knew I could spend points to get more expensive mons later on. But I also wanted to make sure I got the cheap mons that I wanted to get. There's still a couple left, and I'm okay with even considering getting later on in this season. But I knew which 2 to 5 point mons that I wanted, so I wanted to make sure to get them. But I probably would have gotten Regieleki if the pick came to me, but Feint got it a couple picks after I picked the Porygon 2, so that was unfortunate. I had 6 points, seemed like an absolute steal for it. Even though I wasn't sure what it did, 200 speed was just enough for me. But yeah, there are a couple things that I want to patch up at this point. Like Necrozma and Porygon 2 don't really offer resistances to a whole lot of attacks. Like they're both bulky naturally, sponge a lot of hits, which is fine, but I want more resistances to the team, so I'm planning on adding that with the next couple of picks. There's only one rocker, which is Necrozma, which is nice, but I want to get another. Cinderace is the only remove on the team, which is great, but if I want to get my own spikes later, then I probably want to get either Spin or Defog. And I do want to get T-Spikes later to pair with like Hex, Dragapult, and Melmetal versus Bulky Waters. I want to grab a T-Spiker, more momentum, because I was saying all the momentum. I only got 3 out of 5 mons that have momentum right now. I think this whole team has momentum except for one Pokemon. Cleric, ground type would be good. A grounded poison is always good to have, though Cinderace kind of helps with almost being like a grounded poison, is that like it's not free to spam T-Spikes against my team, even if I don't have a grounded poison, just because Cinderace can take them on so well. So the next Pokemon I got is actually a 2-point Clefairy. I feel like this is a steal. It probably should be close to like 4 or 5 points, in my opinion. It's bulkier than Clefable, which is obviously nice. It's weak to stealth, to knockoff, and it's not going to be as bulky, obviously. But it's a rocker, it has Cleric status, Teleport, Healing Wish. Healing Wish is going to be really nice in combination with Melmetal. If Melmetal kills a bulky water but gets really low because of Rocky Helmet, then I could heal up with Healing Wish and get to 100% HP. And because Melmetal is such a high HP stat, having General Wish I feel like wasn't as helpful as having a Healing Wish mon specifically. Yeah, Clefairy isn't even that setup weak just because it has Seismic Toss, so it's going to be doing decent damage. If it's setup plus Recover, that's a different story. Clefairy could be a little bit setup bait, but it's also only a 2-point mon. I'm not bringing it to every game. But it definitely has some nice niches, even though I think people thought it was a little early to take it. I think I wanted to make sure I got a very solid fairy. Even like Togekiss was on the field too. But I knew I wanted other mons later. Mainly combination with the next mon was the reason why I didn't go with Togekiss for my next pick. But yeah, another mon that resists fighting to help out Melmetal and Porygon too. So next Pokemon I got was the better Cramorant, Mantine. Reliable defog, an EQ resist that I didn't have, a water immunity, which Dragapult resists, but immunities are always nice. Another fighting resistance for Porygon 2 and Melmetal. Yeah, and Mantine's weak to electric, but Dragapult takes it on, and weak to rock, but Melmetal, or Dragapult takes on electors and Melmetal takes on rock types. So I feel like this is a pretty solid combination here. Cramorant is bad, Mantine is better. So I have 39 points now. So I went from 45 to 39. And these picks are almost like a wheel combination, because I was the 4th pick. There's only 6 I had to wait for versus like almost 30 between the other 2 picks that I had in general. So I'm like grouping these as like pairs when I'm deciding these mons. So I have 39 points left for 4 mons, a lot of flexibility. So I got a pretty balanced roster, like a lot of 9 to 12 point mons. I could just get 4 of those and be pretty content. Or I can get like 2 expensive mons and 2 cheap mons, or find like a balance in between there. I still wanted T-Spikes. I wanted another rocker outside of Clefairy, because that's not the most reliable rocker. I'm not going to bring that a lot. And Necrozma. I wanted a ground type or an electric immunity, so a ground type probably makes a lot of sense. Maybe Rapid Spin would be nice. A Toxic Spike user, I definitely want to get more speed, more momentum, a bulky water killer. I really considered Rotom Mow in this next slot, but I wanted to get Jolteon later on in the draft, and I wasn't a fan of a lot of the grass types. Like Tapu Bulu was around, but apparently I knew it didn't get any of like the Nanu's, mainly Grassy Glide, which I think was definitely the one killer for them on. And the terrain boost is just weaker, so I didn't really want to get Rotom or get Bulu there. Uzi got Quillfish. I probably would have considered Quillfish with this pick because it was a Spiker and T-Spiker that I wanted to get. But it's unfortunate. I'll be able to find a different T-Spiker. So next Pokemon I got was probably a mon that was considered one of the best available in the pre-DLC, and that's Kyurem. Yeah, I got Kyurem and Dragapult on this team, double dragons. And both mons do have coverage for steals. Dragapult does have Fire Blast, and Kyurem does have Earth Power to hit them both, so it's not like they're both like sitting ducks against steel types, and then obviously I have Cinderace and Necrozma to deal with them. And other mons I'll be getting later I can deal with steel types. And they both have ways to deal with fairies, like Specs Dragapult with Shadow Ball or Hex with Toxic Spikes up can deal with them. And Kyurem has ice coverage, as well as Iron Head, potentially Flash Cannon. So, and both Dragapult and Kyurem have ways to go physical or special attacking. So it's going to be pretty hard to cover all the spectrum with both my dragons that I have. And Kyurem can go very defensive, like a bulky sub Roost set, especially with Toxic Spikes on the field. Seems pretty hard to take down. But this is my bulky water answer because of Freeze Dry Kyurem. That's going to be super, super nice. And I didn't feel like I needed a grass type, at least for the points that were available. Reliable recovery yet again, so I got Mantine, Clefairy, Porygon 2, Necrozma, all with reliable recovery. 5 picks in a row with bulk and recovery, so that's going to be super nice. I can Scarf this mon, so that way Dragapult doesn't have to, or Cinderace. I can Choice Spec it, Dragon Dance. Yeah, another electric answer to deal with alongside Dragapult for Mantine to do a little bit better. Not a whole lot of defensive resistances with Kyurem. That's like the problem with Kyurem Black in general, is that it's at least neutral or super effective to a lot of hits outside of water, electric, and grass. I think they're the 3, which is a little unfortunate, but again, I have a lot of bulk in this team and I'm not too worried about that. Yeah. So, yeah, Kyurem, I got it at pick 7. Right? 8. 4. Yeah, pick 8. It's just insane. And I feel like this next pick was also borderline insane, but I understand why it lasted so long. And that's a Forcelanders-i. Now, Forcelanders-i, I went 18-3 with it in IPL. And I also had regular Sheer Force Lando-i, and I think I got like 18 kills with that in NPL as well. Obviously, it's better with Sheer Force, but Sandforce, I feel like it's still very decent, especially at 13 points, and especially because there's no Hidden Power Ice, so you can't OHKO Landers that easily, because it has decent enough bulk. It's, what is it? 89, 90, 80. That's definitely decent enough, and it has 125 and 115 special attack. So kind of like Kyurem and kind of like Necrozma, kind of like Dragapult. It's going to be hard to tell if I'm going to be physically attacking or special attacking base. So there's going to be a lot of guessing and prep. And if you go the wrong way, it's going to be tough to take all this offense on. You're going to have to predict pretty well about what my team is to have a decent shot, I would say. But another rocker to pair with Necrozma and Clefairy, Defogger, U-Turner, a Scarfer that's over base 100. So like I'll be able to outspeed Jirachi, which is definitely nice. I can go physical or special, Calm Mind, Sword Stance, Rock Polish. It's another ground immunity to pair with Mantine, which I don't have a whole lot of ground resistances on this team. Hopefully I can do this mon justice. So we got 11 points for 2 picks left. I said before I wanted a Jolteon, but it was picked in between the Kyurem and Landorus pick, which was unfortunate, but not terribly surprising. And I had backup options, so I didn't prioritize it. I wanted to make sure I got Kyurem and Landorus more so. And I felt like D-Ride could have gotten Kyurem, and I think Vepsis could have gotten Landorus, even if I wouldn't have expected it. But so with the remaining 11 points, I wanted more speed still, because I do have Cinderace and Landorus. That's nice, but if I can get like at least 1 or 2 mon faster, that would be cool. Maybe another answer to Bulky Waters. Another ground resist would be nice because I only have 2 on the team right now. Ground and poison is nice. Like I considered Wheezing, considered Galarian Slowking and Galarian Slowbro, but neither the last 2 don't have Toxic Spikes, so that's like a pretty big deterrent because I won Toxic Spikes with Kyurem and Melmetal and Dragapult. I could have gotten Garbodor, but it's kind of inflexible outside of just hitting hazards. So I went with a mon that it's a very nice Toxic Spike setter. Could basically get them up whenever I want to in a game, and has more flexibility than just going for hazards, and that's Excelgor. One of the few mons that's even faster than Dragapult, so something I'll definitely take. And with Unburden, like with terrain, I should be able to outspeed any mon in any situation that I want, so that's definitely great. It has okay bulk if invested, and I've shown that in EWT that even though it has 40 defense and 60 special defense, it can be bulkier if invested into it. And bug typing isn't terrible. Like, it takes on ground types fine. Like, most ground types have rock coverage, so obviously it's not going to take that fine, but it can take earthquakes, like Choice Band or Choice Scarf earthquakes, good enough, and go for recover. But I got spikes, toxic spikes, reliable recovery yet again, U-turn. It could even be a focus, like a lead set with a final gamut to kill an annoying threat, or like boots plus a final gamut to kill an annoying threat. Can even go Specs or Life Orb with Bug Buzz, Focus Blast, Energy Ball. It even has Sticky Hold to kind of help with knockoff a little bit. So definitely more flexibility than like a Garbodor would have, and something super fast. So I'm definitely okay with that. And the last mon I got for 2 points was Roselia. I've grounded Poison, Spiker, T-Spiker. I use this mon quite a bit. Pretty reliable to take up bulky waters with a really high special defense to even take like Ice Beams, but really no issue. Physical attacks, it's another story with Roselia, but and it is another mon that's weak to knockoff, but it's another cleric to deal with in addition to Clefairy. Not the best clerics, but I have 2 options. And it's not like Roselia is coming to a lot of games, honestly, if at all, with all the power that I have on this team, but it can definitely come. There are definitely weaknesses on this team, like a knockoff is very annoying because I have Clefairy, Porygon 2, and Roselia, and no knockoff deterring mon, like a Cobat, like I'll have a Virizion on the team that kind of deters you from spamming knockoff. My rock resistant Melmetal, which is great, but outside of that, I don't have a secondary resist, and like Kyurem is weak to it, Mantine's weak to it, Cinderace is weak to it, so it might be a little problematic there. Ground types can be a little bit annoying, but I have Mantine and Landorus. I mean, and Excelgor to an extent, but I feel like that's probably good enough. My Scarfers would probably be like Dragapult, which I love Scarf Dragapult, but I don't want to turn on that set a whole lot if I don't have to. Cinderace could be Scarf, but then you don't have Boots on it, and Boots is probably the best item for it. Scarf Kyurem can definitely work, but again, weak to rocks. Landorus could be Scarfed, but it might be my rocker a pretty decent amount of time. Yeah, outside of that, I think I really like this team, and I think my team is ranked number 1 in power rankings out there. I'm not sure if they're going to be posting a video or not, but we'll see. But there's definitely a lot of pressure on me to win this championship and try to go 5 for 5 in Wi-Fi and 4 for 4 for Generation 8. So we'll see from MCP who's up there to try to dethrone me. So I feel like I definitely have to be a pretty high power horse there, but. Again, make sure you like this video if you like me continuing posting Draft League format out there. Make sure you check out all the other coaches in the NCP. Their information is going to be in the link below. But yeah, very excited for this season. But until next time, later guys.